I never believed tears could give birth to worlds. I never believed pain could open a door that life itself had locked forever. But the night I lost him, the moment my body froze and my voice shattered, I understood. Grief is not only darkness, it is also a key. And I used it. I sat alone, clutching the last message he sent me. His words were unfinished, like he was torn away mid-sentence. My hands shook. My chest ached as if it were burning from inside. And then, against my will, the tears came. Violent, unstoppable. When the first tear hit the floor, the room shivered. Not in my mind, not in my imagination, it truly trembled. My breath caught. My heart whispered, "No, this can't be real." But the air twisted, stretched, and before me, light, a trembling shimmer, as if the tear had burned a hole into something unseen. I should have run. I should have screamed. Instead, I leaned closer. And there he was. He stood in that glow, alive, breathing, smiling faintly like he had been waiting. "Why are you crying?" he asked. His voice, his real voice, rolled through me like a storm, tearing down the walls I'd built since his death. My knees weakened. I could barely whisper. You're dead." He tilted his head, a sad smile curling on his lips. Maybe not. Does it matter? I'm here." I reached out a trembling hand, but the light between us quivered like glass. I couldn't touch him. He couldn't cross. "No," I gasped. "This isn't possible. I buried you. I saw—" "Don't," he cut me off, his eyes flickering with something sharp, almost fearful. "Don't talk about that night." I froze. Fear clawed through my ribs. He didn't want me to remember. Why? Silence stretched, thick, unbearable. Then he whispered, "You shouldn't cry again. Every tear you shed keeps this door open, and every door takes something from you." "What does it take?" I asked. But he didn't answer. His gaze shifted away, as though someone else were listening. My heart thundered. I felt it, the weight of a secret pressing down, suffocating. I wasn't only standing before the man I loved, I was standing before a mystery. And behind that mystery, something darker was waiting. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his face glowing in that impossible light, his warning echoing in my head. Every tear you shed keeps this door open, and every door takes something from you. But what did it take? My breath? My soul? My future? The next day, I told myself I wouldn't cry again. I locked my heart, bit my lips, buried my grief under silence. But pain doesn't vanish, it waits, and when night returned, silence turned to torture. I tried to fight it, God knows I tried, but memories broke through, merciless, like shards of glass. The way he laughed, the way he whispered my name, the way he died. The tears came back, hot, sharp, relentless, and the door opened again. The light spilled, trembling, and there he was, still standing, still waiting. "You came back," he said softly. "No," I whispered, shaking. "You came back." For a moment, it felt like we could pretend nothing had happened, pretend death had no power. But the longer I looked at him, the more I noticed something was wrong. His eyes, they weren't quite the same. "You're hiding something," I said, forcing the words out. He stiffened. His smile faltered. It doesn't matter. It matters to me. I snapped back, surprising myself with the anger in my voice. You're alive here. But how? Why? What is this place? He didn't answer. He just stared at me with that sad, broken gaze. And then, behind him, I heard it. Another voice. You shouldn't ask too many questions, it murmured. Smooth, calm, almost kind, yet cold enough to send a shiver through my spine. I froze. Who's there? A shadow flickered in the light, moving closer but never clear. The voice chuckled. You think he belongs to you? Poor girl, you don't even know the rules of this world. I turned to him, my love, my lost one. His face was pale, his jaw tight. Don't listen. Don't believe anything. But the shadow laughed louder. She deserves the truth. Every tear she sheds feeds me, and every door she opens keeps me strong. And you, the voice sharpened, you only exist because she suffers. My chest tightened. I staggered back. Is that true? I asked him. His voice cracked like glass. Tell me, is that why you told me not to cry? His lips trembled. His silence was worse than any lie. And in that silence, I understood. Love can hide the sharpest betrayal. Part 3. The Trickster's Voice. The silence cut deeper than any blade. He stood before me, the man I had once trusted with my heart, yet his lips refused to move. And behind him, that voice lingered like smoke. See, it purred, he cannot deny it. He lives only because you bleed sorrow, because you drown yourself in grief. No, I whispered, my throat tight. That's not true. Then ask him, the voice pressed, taunting. Ask him if he can survive without your tears. I turned to him, desperate. Tell me it's a lie. Tell me I'm not killing myself just to see you again. His hands clenched into fists. His eyes burned with something between anger and shame. And then, in a voice that cracked like thunder, he shouted, Don't ask me that. The shadow laughed, a deep, mocking laugh that made my skin crawl. Ah, how sweet! A lover who dares not speak the truth, and a girl who cannot stop crying for him. What a perfect bargain. I snapped, Who are you? At that, the light shifted. The shadow began to take form, taller than a man, but thin, graceful, almost elegant. His face remained hidden, but I could feel the smile stretched across it. I, he said smoothly, am the keeper of doors, the collector of tears. Some call me a demon, some a savior. I prefer trickster. Trickster. The word itself felt poisonous on my tongue. He bowed slightly, as though mocking respect. You've been so generous already. Each night you cry, you give me strength. Each tear you shed feeds this world. And in return, his voice softened, almost kind, I give you what you crave most. Him. My love flinched, looking away, ashamed. Don't listen to him. He twists everything. But Trickster chuckled. Twists? No, I reveal. She deserves honesty. Don't you, little one? I stared at both of them, my heart pounding like war drums. One begged for silence. The other promised truth in venom. Why me? Why my tears? Why my pain? Trickster leaned closer, his form pulsing in the shimmer of light. Because not all grief is equal. Some tears are weak, useless, but yours, he inhaled as though tasting the air, yours are pure, desperate, bound to love and loss. They birth worlds, they give life, they are priceless. I shook my head, trembling. You're lying. Am I? His voice lowered, almost a whisper. Think carefully. Why do you see him exactly as you remember? Why does he not age? Why does he vanish the moment your tears dry? My breath caught. The truth was creeping in, piece by piece, and I hated it. I turned to him. Say something, please. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me he's lying. But his silence was louder than any scream. Trickster's laughter slithered through the air. Oh, sweet girl, you don't know whether to hate me or thank me. And in that moment, I realized I was trapped between two worlds, between two truths, between two lies. I wanted to scream, but my voice was caught in my throat. He stood there, my love, the one I buried with my own hands, alive in this strange light, and yet silent when I needed truth most. His eyes held storms, but his lips refused to break the chains of denial. Say it, I cried, my chest burning. Say it isn't true. But he looked away. And in that single motion, my world cracked again. Trickster's voice wrapped around me like a serpent, smooth and venomous. He won't speak because he knows the answer. Every breath he takes here is stolen from you. Every smile he gives is carved from your pain. He is your love, yes, but also your thief. Stop, I shouted. Stop poisoning me against him. Trickster chuckled, low and mocking. Oh, sweet girl, do you think betrayal always comes from strangers? No. The sharpest knives are carried by the ones you trust most. My love stepped forward, his voice breaking. I never asked for this. I never wanted this. If I could choose, I would let go. But I can't. Don't you understand? I don't control it. I froze. His words stabbed deeper than silence ever could. He didn't deny it. He confessed. My breath trembled. So you knew. All this time, you knew my tears kept you alive and you said nothing? His eyes glistened with pain. I wanted to protect you. I thought if you didn't know, you could just keep believing, keep holding on. Believing in what? I spat. That love doesn't destroy? That grief isn't feeding some monster? Trickster clapped slowly, mock applause echoing like thunder. Beautiful, tragic, delicious. This is why I adore mortals. Your love always curdles into betrayal, your hope into despair, and every time you break, you give me more. I spun toward the shadow, fury burning through my fear. Why me? Why us? There are millions who grieve. Why my tears? He leaned closer, though his face never revealed itself. His whisper coiled around my ear like fire. Because yours are the rarest kind. Tears of a lover who buried her heart with her beloved. Tears that refuse to heal. Most grief fades. Yours bleeds forever. My knees weakened. My chest felt hollow. And then I looked back at him. The man I loved, the man I once believed would never harm me. But he had, not with intent, not with malice, but with silence, with secrets. And for the first time since he returned, I wondered, do I love him or do I hate him? His silence was a blade, his confession a wound that would never close. I wanted to reach for him, to cling to him the way I used to, but my hands trembled. My heart screamed, don't touch him. He's not the man you lost. He's something else, something born of your pain. Still, I asked, my voice trembling. "What happens if I stop crying? What happens to you?" He looked down, his shoulders heavy, like he carried chains I couldn't see. "If you stop, I vanish. Forever." The air drained from my lungs. Trickster's laugh filled the silence, cool and delighted. "There it is, the truth at last. Your love survives only as long as you break. What a romance, A fairy tale written in blood and tears." I turned on him. "Shut up!" But the shadow only bowed, mocking me. "You should thank me. Without me, he would have rotted in the ground. I gave him back to you, and all I ask in return is everything you are." My heart pounded. "You're feeding on me. Every tear is killing me." Trickster's voice dropped lower, dripping with mock kindness. "Not killing, transforming. With each tear, you belong a little more to me. Soon, you won't even remember the world you came from." I staggered back, shaking my head. No, I won't let you." But then I turned to him, the man I loved, the man whose absence shattered me. And he whispered, "Please don't stop. I can't lose you again. Not like this." My chest ripped in two. He was begging me to keep crying, begging me to die slowly for him. "Do you hear yourself?" I shouted, tears blurring my eyes. "You'd rather I burn out piece by piece than let me live without you." "I'm already gone," he said, his voice breaking. "Don't you see? Without you, I don't exist. I'm nothing. You're all I have left." Trickster clapped again, his voice slicing like knives. "Oh, how divine! The lover begs for her death. The beloved begs for her destruction. And she is too lost in love to choose." I turned on both of them, rage boiling with despair. "You're both liars. One hides behind silence, the other behind shadows, and I'm the fool bleeding for you." The trickster laughed louder, savoring every word. "Yes, but fools make the best sacrifices." And at that moment, I realized something terrifying. It wasn't just my love I was fighting for, it was my soul. I had nothing left but rage. Rage at him, rage at the shadow, rage at myself for falling into this trap of love and grief. "No more lies," I said, my voice raw. "Show yourself." The trickster's laughter softened into a hiss. "Be careful what you wish for, little one." I'm done being careful. My tears burned my cheeks, but this time they weren't born of sorrow. They were born of fury. "If you're going to feed on me, at least let me see the face of the thief." The light around him flickered like a dying flame. The shadows shifted, stretched, and then collapsed inward. Slowly, piece by piece, a figure emerged. Human, but not. Skin pale as paper, eyes black pools of endless night, lips curved in a smile that was both charming and cruel. "Better?" he asked, lightly spreading his arms. "You like your monsters visible?" I glared at him. "You're not a monster. You're worse. You're a liar who hides behind gifts." He tilted his head, amused. "I gave you what you begged for. I returned your love. I built you a world where he still breathes. All you had to do was cry. Is that really so terrible?" My voice cracked, trembling. "You built nothing. You stole him from my memories. You made a puppet out of the man I loved." For a moment, Trickster's smile faltered. Just for a moment. Then it returned, sharper than before. "Ah, but if he's just a puppet, why does your heart still ache for him?" I turned to the man beside me. He reached for me, but his hand shook as if he already knew the answer. "She's right. I'm not who you remember. I'm what he made me." The words hit me harder than any blow. "You knew." He nodded, eyes filling with a grief that mirrored my own. I tried to warn you. I tried to keep you from crying again. But I'm trapped too. Trickster stepped closer, his voice a silky blade. Trapped? No, you're a gift. You're my proof that love can outlive death if fed enough pain. Enough, I snapped. This ends now. Trickster raised an eyebrow, amused. Ends? Oh, sweet girl, we're only at the beginning. You think you're free because you've seen my face? You think knowing the truth sets you free? His smile widened and his eyes gleamed like knives. No, now you must choose. Choose what? I demanded. His voice dropped to a whisper, curling through my bones. Cry one last time, give me everything, and he becomes fully real forever. Or stop crying now, and he dies forever. No more doors, no more worlds, only silence. The man I loved turned to me, his face pale with terror. Please. I stared at them both, my heart hammering like a war drum. I had found the trickster. I had torn away the mask. But now, the real nightmare began. The room, or whatever world this was, fell silent. Not the silence of peace, but the silence before a storm. My tears clung to the edge of my lashes, refusing to fall. One drop, I knew, could decide everything. He looked at me, trembling. My love, my ghost, my lie. If you stop now, he whispered, I'd disappear. Forever. Please, don't let me go. Trickster leaned in, his voice velvet and venom. Listen to him. One last cry and he's yours forever. Flesh and blood, warm and real. You'll wake up tomorrow and he'll be there beside you. No more shadows, no more doubts. But my heart twisted, torn in two. Forever, but at what cost? I asked, my voice shaking. Trickster's smile widened, teeth gleaming. You'll have nothing left, no soul, no breath. But isn't that worth it, to die in love's arms rather than live alone? I staggered back, my chest tight. Death wrapped in romance, poison wrapped in promise. He reached for me, my love, desperation burning in his eyes. Don't listen to him. This is about us, about what we had. Don't let it end again, please. My throat closed. His words cut deeper than the trickster's lies, because they weren't lies. They were his need, his fear, his selfish love. I shouted, why should I give my life for someone who isn't even real? He froze, as if I'd slapped him. Not real? You're built from my memories. Every laugh, every smile. You exist because I bleed. You said it yourself. He shook his head violently, tears welling. I feel you. I love you. Isn't that real enough? Trickster's laughter slithered between us. See how delicious this is? Even now you cannot tell love from illusion. You cannot tell truth from lie. That is the beauty of my craft. My hands shook. My breath tore in ragged bursts. If I cried now, if I let the tears fall, he would live, but I would vanish. If I held them back, I would live, but he would vanish. Either way, someone died tonight. He dropped to his knees before me, his voice breaking. I don't care what I am, puppet or ghost or memory. I only know I love you. Please, don't leave me again. For a heartbeat, the world stilled. I wanted to give in. I wanted to let the tears fall and drown myself in him forever. But then I remembered. The funeral. The dirt covering his coffin, the final goodbye. I had already lost him once, and in that moment, I knew. I was losing myself now. I clenched my jaw, my eyes burned. The tears threatened to fall. Trickster leaned forward, breathless, waiting. My love held his arms open, begging, and I whispered, "No more." The tears rolled down my cheeks, hot, final, shattering. But this time, they weren't for him. They were for me. The ground split with light. Trickster screamed, his elegant mask cracking. My love reached for me, his cry echoing into nothingness, and the world of tears began to collapse. Light poured through the cracks like molten glass, burning the shadows. The world trembled as if some great heart beneath it had stopped beating. The trickster screamed, his voice no longer velvet but jagged stone. "You fool! Those tears weren't mine to take. You broke the game!" I stood tall, though my body shook. My cheeks were wet, but my chest was light. For the first time since this began, I could breathe. "I'm done playing," I said quietly. "I'm done being your well of grief." His form writhed, twisting, as though every ounce of power he'd stolen was pouring out of him. The elegant suit shredded into ash, his pale skin cracking like glass. "You can't leave me," he howled. "Everything you love lives through me." I looked at him and felt no fear, only truth. "You don't keep love alive. You trap it. You dress death in silk and call it devotion." My love, my shadow of love, stood behind me, fading, his outline blurred like smoke in the sun, his eyes locked on mine, filled with a pain deeper than any scream. "You're killing me," he whispered. "No," I said softly. "I'm freeing us both." He reached for me. His hand passed through my skin, just a wisp now. "I don't want to go." "I know," I whispered, tears falling again. But these tears didn't feed the trickster. These tears burned him. "You were my heart," I said. "But my heart has to beat on its own." The trickster shrieked as the light swallowed him whole. His smile, his eyes, his shadow, all dissolved like paper in fire. The man I loved gave me one last look. Not anger, not despair. Something softer. Something like release. "I'll be waiting," he said, his voice like an echo in a cathedral. And then he was gone. Silence. Real silence. No shadow, no laughter, no bargains. The world of tears cracked apart like a mirror, shards of light floating around me. For the first time, there was no weight on my chest. I fell to my knees, breathing hard. My palms were empty, but my soul was mine again. And somewhere deep inside, under the grief and the scars, a small spark of something new flickered. Not hope, not yet, but possibility. When I opened my eyes, the world was no longer made of shadows and sorrow. It was dawn. The sky stretched pale and endless, and for the first time, I wasn't afraid of its emptiness. I sat alone, the ground cool beneath me, my cheeks still wet with the final tears. But they were mine. Mine to shed, mine to end. No one else's hunger lingered in them. For a long moment, I listened. No whispers, no trickster's laughter, no desperate pleas. Just silence. And in that silence, a fragile kind of peace. He was gone. Both of them. The man I loved, the echo of him, no longer haunted me, and the shadow who fed on grief had been broken by the truth he couldn't control. I was left with nothing but myself, and maybe that was enough. I touched my chest. It hurt, yes. The emptiness was real, but it wasn't a cage anymore. It was a wound that could heal, not one forced open again and again. His last words echoed in me. "I'll be waiting." Maybe he would. Maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he was only ever a trick of memory, but I didn't need to chase him anymore. For the first time since the funeral, I could imagine walking forward, alone but alive. I rose slowly, my knees unsteady, my breath trembling but real. The horizon glowed with morning light, and with every step I took, the world grew clearer, sharper, more solid. There would still be nights when grief clawed at me. There would still be dreams where I saw his face and woke crying. But now I knew the difference between memory and prison, between love and surrender. The trickster had promised me eternity through tears, but eternity is a curse. Life, fragile, fleeting, imperfect, was the real gift. And so, with the sun rising and my heart scarred but free, I whispered to the empty air, "Goodbye." Then I walked on,